everybody. Hi, Phineas. How are you today?
Not too bad. Good day, Santa. Good day, everybody. Hoping everybody's having a good week so far, and
Yeah, yeah,
hoping everybody is in a decent place right now. So,
yeah.
yeah.
It's been an interesting week, I'll say. I know that you had quite an adventure. I know we touched on it last week
Mhm.
with Santa Bruce and you with your adventures to Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Yeah.
I would love for you to tell our listeners, what did you guys do and how did it go?
So in Niagara Falls, Ontario, every July there is an event called the Santa World Congress, where Santas get together, and it's just a week of activities and festivities for Christmas performers, Santas, Mrs. Clauses, elves, etc. And they get together and they meet in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, and just travel around and get a chance for fellowship and hanging out. And on the first day of the event, they had an educational day. So Santa Bruce Guerin and Phineas the elf went and instructed and helped teach. So it was a good day in Niagara Falls.
Mm. How long
Mhm.
was your segment? Did you have a little bit? Was it a
We
longer
had
segment?
we had 2 hours. It was 2 hours just before lunch. So they had been sitting for a few hours before us, and they were also getting pretty hangry. So we kept them up and occupied and moving around and energized. So they weren't just sitting and
Yeah.
getting info dump. It was, we had them participating. They were up and joining in and doing exercises, and we made it an experiential learning opportunity for them all. So, same time, if you get them engaged and you get them to participate and interacting with one another as
Hmm.
well as yourself, it's a lot better than just talking at them. And
Yeah.
death by PowerPoint. That's not going to happen with Santa Bruce and I. So,
Can I tell you a funny story? So I watched this show and and here's a PowerPoint and some slides, and it was pictures of slides. I think that would be a great goof to play.
mhm,
It's just pictures like, hey, we've got another slide. This PowerPoint's really good. You'll like it. Here's
mhm.
some more slides. And then there's a picture of us like slides. I, I just, I thought that was so funny. It made me giggle. Well, that sounds like a fun time. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I would love to have seen you two in action. I will see you soon, but it sounded like it was a great time. There's a picture, which I'll see if I can somehow I can share this. If you have to watch the YouTube channel to see it,
Mhm.
but we'll put a photograph in the video of what Santa Kevin sent me. So we're not going to tell you. You have to go look. And it's one of the cool things about we do a visual and we do an audio, but there'll be a photograph. Maybe should we tell them what it is? We should tell them.
I'll give you a hint is that one of our friends said it was the best buddy cop movie that he's ever seen. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has a story. I see Hallmark movie all over it. I see, you know, the book them, no, don't book them. You're not on the nice list, but I think it could
yeah,
be,
think if Rankin Bass, the people who did Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman, think of if they did a buddy cop movie, that's what this is.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so you'll have to watch the video to see it. We'll put it as we're talking. So make sure you go look at the YouTube channel again. Fireside Chat with Santa and Phineas. We say it every episode, but we're happy you'd be listeners and watchers. But I got something I want to show everybody. I got another part. Speaking of Rankin and Bass,
Excellent.
it's
You got
Dolly.
you got the dolly from the Island of the Misfit Toys. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So our listeners, and when you just take a second and go look, but because you're going to want to see that picture of Santa and Phineas, it's from the Rankin and Bass. It's little Dolly. She's got her hands up in her bright pinafore dress, and I know this is controversial, and we know many Mrs. Clauses, but
Mrs. Claus.
Mrs. Claus and all of her clearly she runs the house. Mrs. Claus has a very, very tight bun.
Yep.
I would say a chignon, if for our listeners that maybe know hairstyles, a very tight chignon. She's got a white apron and a burgundy dress, and her burgundy dress has snowflakes along the bottom. And she's got her apron on. She's running stuff, but that just came in. I just want to share. I think I have one more left, which is Bumble. Bumble will be the last part of this. So yeah, it's you started and then you go, you got a whole shelf full of them now. So it's all good. So well,
Papa, nobody likes a skinny Santa.
I that's a true giving. It's a tradition that I've always hung on to since saw the first ones. And we're going to talk about something that sometimes people overlook. And, with traditions and obviously change, people often think that the busiest time of the year because of all the presents, the travel and the excitement. But we've learned over the years that holidays bring out something much deeper. For some people, Christmas is the happiest day of the year. And for others, it can be the hardest. I think everyone loved Christmas the same way, but it depends on, I learned more when I listened.
Mm-hmm.
The holidays can magnify every emotion.
Definitely.
Some things that come up frequently is with grieving and loss. I mean, you talked about this a lot with your wonderful event you do with the steel mill, where you guys have been going there many years and seeing, people stop coming, and they may have their significant others, their wives, their children had passed. I know you shared stories about the gentleman that would help with the line management. Is there any other that you can think of over the years that has come up that you have worked with that maybe it was a challenge and you rose to the occasion and made it a wonderful memory?
Well, Santa and I used to do a lot of work with one of the local business communities, business improvement area in the city of Hamilton. And on one weekend, we were walking through and visiting with the individual businesses covered in the BIA. And there was this lady who she ran sort of like a craft store kind of thing. And when we walked in, she looked at us and you could just see her eyes begin welling up with tears. And so we were like, would you like us to leave? And she says, no, I need to feel this way. And what had happened was that someone very beloved to her had literally passed away that morning. And it was she just wanted us to be there and be present for her and let her sit in her grief and also feel the love of Santa Claus and his helper, just to be there and fill the shop up with love and surround her with, holiday magic, Christmas spirit, whatever you want to say. And at the end of it, Santa, who is a Presbyterian minister, did a prayer for her. There was a big group hug, lots of tears and some laughter. And then, she was able to carry on that day. And again, it was knowing to be quiet, knowing to listen, and knowing just to be present and let that feeling happen and let that feeling pass. So
that's the silence part, the quiet part. I think too, even people, I mean, you and I have both had loss in our lives where everybody has, be it a parent, a significant other, a life partner. And it's significant because you've chosen, this is my human. This is the person, this is my family, and they are no longer available, no longer there. And it's hard because you feel like it's your burden to carry and you don't have to do that heavy lifting. You can share. And I think that's a beautiful story. I have one I'm thinking of with when I started with Urban Pooch. This family would come in. Unbeknownst to me, the husband had terminal cancer and he had come and he clearly was not well. And they had a stuffed toy. It was a ghost. And so they had the toy that it was the dog. It was a very sweet dog. I can't remember, the name does not come to me at the moment, but we took the picture. And then a couple years later, she came in without him and the dog, and he had passed very sadly. And she said, this is going to be our tradition now because my husband loved Christmas. And the last holiday photo I have to remember him is with you. So, of course, here I go again. And so I'm like, tears are shooting out. The photographer's tears are shooting out. And I'm trying to find like my center, right? Because sometimes when things come at you like this, they can be like just a giant wrecking ball. They can knock you down, And I think too, I just took a moment, just like you said, just to be silent and quiet. It's like, let's honor him today. So the dog jumped up, super sweet lab mix. She was crying, and I, put my hands on her hand, and she said, "I want you to know that the ghost he has, it doesn't leave his side." And the dog carries the toy around with him everywhere, to the grocery, on the walk. So in their way, in a small way, I get to be part of the tradition. She's come back a few times. I haven't seen her in the last few years, but it's sometimes it's just saying it's okay. You can be yourself. You don't have to put on a front. You don't have to be perfect, because nothing is perfect. We're all a bit messy, right?
Yep.
We're human, right?
Yep.
We're all,
It's okay to be human, even when you're supposed to be something more than human, you know?
yeah, yeah. It's what I aspire to be. I want to be a better human, and you bring this out in me, and then together we can share these really great stories with you, and maybe you find solace in the fact that you lost someone, or you know, when I was at Macy's, I had a few times that things I see that maybe that I wouldn't be obvious. I had a family come in. The grandmother was clearly very ill, and she sat down and she's like, "Well, Santa, I used to come here as a child. I may have mentioned this story before, but she had said that, listen, we're having a day so we can create this memory, because I'm not going to be here next year. I want one more year." And this is a wonderful, wonderful way of sharing that. And your family is going to be here, and you're going to have this photo. And when you're having a bad day, you can remember today. And sometimes it's a touch,
Hmm.
you know, I can put my hand on their hand and say, it's going to be okay. Cause you know what? I don't know your family. I can tell that you have a huge heart and you have this wonderful support system. They're going to be there for you. Clearly, you are loved, and I love you too. And of course, the grandmother and I are having this whole conversation about the mom is and the granddaughter are both talking to the photographer about what they want. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, what are you guys talking about?" And then the grandmother said, "Santa's just checking in."
Hmm.
Just I think too, has there any situation like that's popped up in your mind where you have maybe a person at the end of life, or is challenged in a physical capacity? They're not going to be the same going forward.
Well, I am very lucky that I get to work with one of the local hospitals and oftentimes get called in to visit with the children in the hospital
Hmm.
just to uplift their spirits, have a visit with them, or sometimes it is their last few days on this planet and they want to have one last visit. And being called in by the family and the healthcare team to do that is humbling and a huge honor, because they want to have one last Christmas memory with their loved one, and typically it's a child. And again, you are there for the child, yes, but you are also there for the family as well as the healthcare team that is there. You are there for everyone. And you know full well that the story is not going to end happily in this case. For the most part, you know what the outcome is, but at the same time, the family has requested to spend part of their last moments with your presence there. And again, that is a huge honor and something that
Wow.
is humbling and powerful. And you need to understand that that is big for them and it should be equally as big for you.
Isn't that beautiful? That is
Mm.
so beautiful. Mm. Just listening and hearing your stories, you think about what you do on this your time. I
Mhm.
tell everybody it's so quick. You're just gonna have this life. And when I was younger, a little off topic, I used to spend a lot of time in cemeteries, Victorian cemeteries specifically, because I was intrigued by seeing someone's life and how they were remembered.
Mhm.
We don't do that as much in our contemporary times as they did the Victorian era. They built monuments to their love and things like this. And I think too, even sharing these stories, and then someone's going to hear this podcast or watch the video and go, "Hey, these two gentlemen were talking about this amazing story, and then it becomes like this. It becomes tribal
Mhm.
because these stories are going to be passing around as we're getting older in a way of memorializing that young woman that you came into her business and she needed that hug and that quiet time, or if someone was sitting down with me and they knew it was their last Christmas, um, I often say that sadness or grief has its place, right? There's a way that we can remember loved ones that have passed, or maybe something that's gone on. Is there a tradition or something you do to remember a loved one that's passed?
I do. On days that are anniversary days or special days for them, I've got a candle that I light and just, I'll have a picture of them or a
Yeah,
memento from them, and I will put the picture by the candle and just sort of light and just sort of say, "Hey, I'm thinking of you. I miss you. I love you. Thank
yeah,
you for everything you did in my life." And just a way of upholding their memory while I'm still around on this planet and while I'm still doing that, because that's all we have left of these people are our memories and the way they made us feel. And that's how come I always say that my role as Phineas the Elf and my role with Santa is to help create memories. Yep.
1,000,000%. Couldn't be better said. I think it's too, even on the last episode, I talked about going out and spending a lot of money to look and portray this, getting the honor to portray this character.
Hmm.
You can't buy this stuff. You have to have this heart for it because it's not, you can't just go and say, give me that $2,000 special and I'm going to go and take some pictures. But you have, if you're going to do something more than being a mall Santa, which is nothing wrong with that. I
Hmm.
have lots of wonderful friends that love it, that do it as a career, and they have a wonderful life and it's afforded them an amazing career. But sometimes it's kind of fun to explore
Hmm.
home visits, get to know people, have traditions like you have with the steel mill where you do it consecutively for many years myself with Urban Pooch and the Chamber of Commerce is here in Chicago. It's there's a lot more than I mean, a photo's a memory, but there's a lot more to the interaction than just going, boy, you look really nice. Like, well, thank you. It's so funny. Everybody always wants to, it feels like they have to compliment me. Do they do that with you as well when you're doing your running around in your cute pointy shoes?
Everyone's like, "Oh, you look so good," and "Oh, those are good shoes," and everything like that. And it's like, well, thank you. I care about how I look and how I come
Yeah.
across
Yeah.
to folks, and it's a great honor. But as I said, the true thanks I get are, the time I walked into our one of our regular families and my picture is on their living room wall. That's the best thanks I can get.
Yeah. I've
Is
had I've had the same thing with another very dear friend. He goes, I want you to know your photos on my night on our fireplace. And it's my favorite thing in my house because I remember the day. And oh God, it's just,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just this guy who just loves to do this and bring happiness and create memories. So, oh,
The
do
same
you get
thing,
a little,
we have these little trinket giveaways that we give, and, they're wooden nickels, and we give them away to folks who are special and have been really well behaved and everything like that. And when I came back the next year and she still had that dang wooden nickel in her pocket and the paint because she holds it so much and everything like that. And I said, "Would you like a new one with fresh paint on it?" And she goes, "No, no, this one is special." So both Santa and I signed it with a Sharpie just so, she can remember who it came from and stuff like that, stuff like that, something that you just give away because, the child is being good and was really especially well behaved, and it becomes something so treasured that they carry with it all the time, and it's one of their favorite objects to the point where the stuff with our names on it has worn off because she loved
mm,
it. So,
beautiful.
yep.
Do you do anything during the holidays for friends that maybe are going through it outside of, being this character? Is there something that you assist with to kind of not force the Christmas or the holidays or whatever the celebration is on that individual, but let them know that you're thinking of them?
I do an event that I call Blue Christmas, and I usually try to do it on the 21st or the winter solstice.
Mm-hmm.
And it is for people who have either lost loved ones during the past year, or people who are going to be celebrating the holidays alone on their own. And I just try to create a place. Anyone who's been in my house knows that my home is a place of quiet, a place of sanctuary, and a place where they can just sort of be. And just, on this evening, there's candles lit. There might be some incense depending on how I feel. There'll be quiet music. The house is decorated, but not over the top. And it's just a place where we can be and just, be. We don't have to talk. We don't have to sing. There's not going to be a huge woo party celebration or anything like that. It's just going to be time together, and it's just a space for folks to reminisce and just be and remember and hang out.
That's lovely.
Mhm.
You don't force it.
No.
Key fact. Normalizing someone's happiness is not the way to go. I think just
Mhm.
being a friend and being supportive too. I've done my other favorite thing to do is I like to go on drive through homes or areas that have like a lot of Christmas lights. So in Milwaukee, there's an area of town that's when I go up to Milwaukee to visit friends, there's an area of town that is really decorated. They do it up.
Mhm.
Those inflatables have taken over. I'm a blow mold kind of guy. I like
Mhm.
the old blow mold kind of, the classic, but the inflatable stuff is fine.
Mhm.
But this whole area, so it definitely does nothing but, I do a Christmas playlist on really obscure stuff. And then I play while I'm driving my friends through this Christmas area of the town. And it's quite lovely. So our last segment is about small acts matter. And I'm going to kind of lead it. I'm going to take over for a second and say thank you, Phineas and Mike. I'm dealing with some health issues. I'm going to be totally fine. It's all going to be okay. And I have appreciated your checking on me immensely. I knew, I mean, I didn't expect anybody to, say, give your space or don't. But I think the small acts that matter is checking in on people. And I think I have appreciated that immensely from you, from Santa Bruce, from Santa Kevin, the people I shared with my diagnosis with. So, but I'm going to be totally fine, but it's going through the process is a little bit, yeah, I love is feeling it. Believe me, I know the days are sometimes hard. Let's say that, but as our listeners and our watchers, take a moment and go buy them a coffee. I don't know, I know you love tea and you love savory things. So if I brought like a tea with like some sort of a savory biscuit,
Mhm.
that would totally, maybe if you were having a bad day, maybe it would help your mood. Is there anything that you like to do to show the small acts that matter?
I usually try to find out what makes that person tick, like what will, as you say, a coffee or a cup of tea or someone who likes to read, I will get them, a book to read that inspired me, just a small random act of kindness is how I treat it. My neighbors, every so often, I will knock on their door and I will have cooked some cookies or baked some pies or tarts, and I will just take one over here, enjoy as part of the family or something like that. Just something, really simple. No skin off my teeth, but it's just like, hey, I'm thinking of you and I want to share those with you because you're awesome and I am grateful for you.
Do you make butter tarts, Phineas?
I do not because they are so fussy and fiddly. And again, I'm not a huge fan of sweets.
Yeah.
So if there was a way of making a savory butter tart,
I bet it would be
but
delicious.
I'm thinking, oh, that'd be kind of questionable. So, but yeah.
For our non-American listeners, there's a wonderful Canadian delicacy called butter tarts, and it is a thing. I know Phineas doesn't like them. But there
I
are
wouldn't say I don't like them. It's just I'm not a fan of sweets, and
sweets.
they're
Yeah,
all quite sweet. So yeah.
it's quite sweet and quite buttery.
Hmm.
You should Google butter tarts. And there, I had a chance to have them with our very dear friend Chris when I was up on Hamilton as well a few years ago, and it was like a thing. And I'm like, ooh, these are good. It's like, yeah, it's like a sugar. Like the second one, you're like, I gotta go take a nap. No, it's like, I'm not going to be productive today. But yeah, yeah. So, but small acts of kindness, taking those, getting a coffee. I sometimes it's a call.
Hmm.
That's where I've appreciated the texts and the calls from my very dear family and friends. So, but you don't know what kind of day people are having, and maybe just saying, "Hey, is today better? You doing okay today? And can we talk?" Or just letting you know you think you're thinking of them. I do. It's amazing. I have an iPhone, and those photo memories pop up in those a memory will pop up, and it's always almost time to write for people
Hmm.
because the photograph, something's changed. It's maybe 10 years. Most of my friends I've known for a long time. So I'll always send a photo. It's like when I'm thinking of you, this is
Hmm.
the last time this is the memory that popped up today. So this was a great episode.
It was. It was.
I I was curious. I don't really have a listener question, but I have a question for you.
Hmm.
What tradition helps you feel connected that you like during the holidays?
The tradition that helps me feel connected. I grew up in the Christian church, and we had a wreath that we lit up, an Advent wreath, and there are 5 candles. And each Sunday before Christmas, you light up one candle, and then on Christmas Day, you light up the center candle representing Christmas Day. And while I may not have the same level of belief in spirituality, I do like the idea of lighting the wreath during the weeks coming up to Christmas because the days are getting shorter, it's getting darker,
Hmm.
and we all need a little light these days. It sometimes is very difficult. So I still have the Advent wreath. I still get the candles for it every year, and I light the candles up. And then on Christmas Day, I just let the candles burn until they are stubs and a big pile of wax at the end. So,
What a
so.
lovely tradition.
Mhm.
I do one. Christmas was a big deal when I was growing up. My mother, we didn't have a lot of money, a single mom. And there was this little brass thing. I recently have found one. It's like a die cut, and it was angels holding this piece of metal. And
Mhm.
then there, right below it were 4 bells.
Okay.
And under that, it looks like a fan blade. And you
Mhm.
light 4 votives underneath it. And I don't know what they're called, but it's the 4 votives, and then the heat from the votives cause this propeller to spin, which make the angels go over the bells. So it basically makes this lovely little ting 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 sound. And that was something I remember as a child, which I now do as an adult, just to remember my
Nice.
mother, because she's
Yep.
been gone. Oh gosh, she's been gone 20 years now.
Mhm.
And so it was just her 20th, her met passing just recently. So yeah, that's something that the tradition that I want to keep on going, because I think it's too, as time goes on, we have to keep those memories fresh, right? So, well, I know we went over time a little bit today. I hope you all have enjoyed it. We sure did.
Definitely, definitely.
And the episodes, I've been looking at the stats, and can I tell you the number one episode? What was the number one episode?
What was it?
Our very dear friend from Quebec, Santa Michael.
Santa Michael? Very cool.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. He has a lot of people were interested in Santa Michael's story. Maybe we'll have him on for a part two. We'd love to, but he his story is kind of touched, and it's been various things. Also, the big Instagram hit was you putting on makeup, talking about how to open up your eyes. 27,000 views. People want to know this stuff. Well, as always, thank you, Phineas, for your time today.
Thank you
It's
very much, Santa. Thank you for your time.
it's wonderful. And if you'd like to message us, Instagrams, social media, we love that. Please comment, share your friends the stories, and Make sure you, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you're going to miss that picture that we talked about in the beginning because it's pretty cool.
And while you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, and ring that bell so you get notified when we upload new episodes.
Yeah. Thank you again. Take care, sir. And we'll see you. Excuse me, up the hiccups there. Have a great week and we'll talk to you soon.
Have a good week, everybody. Enjoy.
My goodness, this is going to be awesome.